Hey, everybody. Welcome. It's a really privilege that you're spending time with us this afternoon. We think it's a very important time as an entrepreneur, as challenges create opportunities. But there's been a number of very good presentations about the different type of challenges that are likely to be going on both today and for the foreseeable future as it relates to the environment that we're in. And so what we thought we would do is, one, just cover some of the key basis of where we're at, but more importantly, what do you do about it? And so, the playbook for tumultuous times is something that we've come up with at GSV. But to start with, just to give some context in terms of what we're facing. So first slide, please. Nasdaq is down 25% from its all-time high last November, but that really doesn't show what's really taken place. Nasdaq is market cap weighted, so some of the largest companies, while down significantly, aren't down nearly as much as a lot of the high growth companies that are more reflective of the venture capital world. Many high growth public businesses that are doing very well fundamentally are nonetheless down 70 to 80% from their all-time high. Zoom, for example, has a market cap below of where it was in March of 2000, which is absolutely incredible when you think about it. Tiger, which is an extraordinary investor, is down 40% in the first 4 months of 2022. SoftBank, another excellent investor's Vision Fund, lost an absolutely almost unimaginable over $26 billion in the first quarter alone. Next slide, please. And, what's taken place is we've been in an environment where inflation effectively has been non-existent, driven by the mega trends of globalization, technology, and outsourcing and so forth, to where you started to see inflation really heating up last summer and currently over 8%. And just the fundamentals of business valuations. As interest rates increase, valuations of companies go down and are particularly extreme as it relates to growth companies. Venture capital funding was down 20% in the first quarter. It will likely be down something in the neighborhood of 80% in the second quarter. So when you'll say, where are we in this correction or bear market? Well, the historical P of the S&P 500 is 15 times earnings. And so even with the decline that we've experienced, we're still above historical norm. And inflation is running over 8%, yet the 10-year bond yield is just around 3%. So you still have a negative spread of 5%, which basically means that people that are lending money are losing money from inflation. So that isn't the likely relationship that will exist for into perpetuity. And as we mentioned at the beginning of this conversation, a number of venture capitalists have come out with their survival guide for a period that's likely to be very difficult. Nobody knows what the duration is going to be. We certainly don't, but it's important to be prepared for an environment that's likely to be challenging for the foreseeable future. So next slide, please. And we think, by the way, there's a lot of good reference material that you've already seen or you should go look at that really talks about things you can do to make your business more bulletproof. And Greg Shove, who will be following me, has got a lot of good, very specific things of what they've done and how we think about being an environment that many people, haven't faced in the past. So, Lightspeed said the boom times of the last decade are unambiguously over. Bill Gurley, who's a tremendous investor, said the cost of capital has changed materially. If you think things are like they were, then you're headed off a cliff, like Thelma and Louise. And Sequoia, did their 52-page PowerPoint called it "Adapting to Endure," which was the sequel to what they put out in 2008. Next slide, please. What we want to talk about is how you play offense in a defensive world. We're not saying that we shouldn't be playing defense and doing all the smart things that you need to do to not only thrive, but survive during these challenging times. At the same time, we think that the smart people do is yes, we belt and suspender playing, making sure that we're doing the things that to be able to survive. But we also think these times also create tremendous opportunities for entrepreneurs and businesses that really are both playing defense and offense at the same time. As Warren Buffett said, the time to be fearful is when others are greedy. I mean, that was the period that we just came from. But the time to be greedy is when others are fearful. And again, I think that should be a mindset, not reckless, not driving off the cliff, as Bill Gurley said, but thoughtful, smart, strategic, opportunistic, and really take the advantage of a time that's going to have a lot of people that are kind of hiding underneath their beds to really make some smart advances. I'll also give you some background that we had. So Deborah and I started a previous firm, Think Equity Partners, in July of 2001, thinking that we had timed this bear market that had gone on, with the internet.com bubble burst in March of 2000. We thought we're just going to be coming out of it and we're going to have this incredible firm. And of course, then came 9/11 and so forth. And that bear market lasted till March of 2003. And so we thought, the thesis that we had of we're going to be basically positioned to be, coming to this incredible market that was just about here was absolutely wrong. And we thought we're going to have all sorts of capital available to us. There was no capital available to us. But nonetheless, we were able to grow our business at a 50% type of CAGR for 6 years, fastest growing investment bank in the United States during a period that was very difficult. And we were able to do it by some of the plays that we're about to talk about here. So the first play is an obvious one, is upgrade your team. And so the good news about what's taking place, the hardest thing for most high growth businesses has been, how do you access talent, where everybody is in high, the best people are in such high demand. And so, we're likely to be able to be in a situation where you're going to be able to enhance the team that you have significantly. And that should be a priority for everybody. A story I like to tell is not just enhance your team and look for great people that can really advance the business, but it's also just acknowledging cold, hard facts. Sometimes it's easy for an entrepreneur to say, well, we don't have the best head of sales, or we don't have the best, head of human resources or technology, but we've got a person in place and they're adequate. And so the story I like to tell is I played college football for a guy named Lou Holtz. And when he was at Notre Dame, he had the second team left guard in when they were doing a scrimmage. And during that scrimmage, the left guard kept the substitute kept on going the wrong way, going offsides, doing all sorts of mistakes. And finally, Coach Holtz just took him out of there and played with no left guard. And so they kept the scrimmage going. By the third play, with the first play run, Ricky Waters, the running back of Notre Dame, gets smacked, and that was a bad thing. Second play, same thing. Third play, there's basically a revolt going on. And the players saying, what are you doing? You're getting our guy killed. Well, and Coach Holtz said, well, you were playing without a left guard before, at least now you know it. And I think the point is acknowledging where you have holes and doing something now. You can't have mediocre people or people that are not carrying their weight during these times. Second slide, please. Operational excellence. Again, doing things that you can control. You can control, fundamentals of the business. How do you make your cost of goods sold lower? How do you increase or lower your customer acquisition costs? How do you increase the long-term value of a customer? What are the key fundamentals that you can focus on and do better? Because when you make your cost of goods sold lower, that increases the cash that you have. Number 3, improve customer retention. The best customer that you have is the one you already have. And so how do you delight that customer? How do you make them know that how important they are to you? How do you over deliver in terms of what they expect from you? Number 4, do more with the same customer. This is obviously a related concept, but often entrepreneurs say, gosh, what am I doing wrong and how do I do it better? And there's nothing wrong with that. But we find the best entrepreneurs say, what are the customers that love us? What are we doing right? How do we do more of that? How do we do more with that same customer? Number 5, find new marketing channels. And again, it's sort of an obvious point, but it's, often, just being in, looking and thinking about what are ways that we can reach our customer more effectively, more efficiently, in a way that's more distinctive. There's all sorts of things that are going to be available in terms of resources and ways to do things even less expensive in a way where there's a high demand world. And finding new marketing channels is an important thing to be thinking about. What can we do creatively, efficiently to be successful? Number 6, build a quote unquote credibility bank with investors, customers, and employees. Companies don't run out of time or money. What they really run out of is credibility, and being communicative with your investors about challenges you're facing, how they can help you. I mean, we're all in this together. Building a company is a team sport, and so having brutal, transparency and honesty about what's going on, and that builds a lot of goodwill with your investors, with your customers. Make your employees part of this solution. Often entrepreneurs is afraid to share bad news with any of those constituents. But how you build that credibility is being honest and transparent and working in this together. And you find that people get through these challenges in ways that they couldn't even imagine. Number 7, the least dilutive capital you can get is revenue, right? And so thinking about ways you create revenue is an alternative or even a better substitute than investment capital in a place where capital is going to be expensive and it's going to be very tight. Number 8, invest in technology, faster, better, cheaper, and also how can you be smarter, and how do you invest in your people so as things evolve, you're able to come out of this in a way that's stronger than ever. Number 9, create the future. The mindset of the entrepreneur, particularly in a time where there's just a lot of chaos and a lot of negativity and a lot of uncertainty, is what great leaders do is they're able to show a reality that might not even exist yet, but also defining what the business can be for all the constituents I talked about before. The times when things are going easily is hard to do that because everything seems to be easy. In the challenging times is the time where you can really distinguish yourself and rise up to where people are going to be looking at, they're looking for that leader to be creating a confidence and direction about where things are going, and people rally around that. And number 10 is at some point, the sun will come up in the east again. And what you want to have is a vision today of what comes next. What will the world look like coming out of this? Where is gravity where it's going to, with the knowledge economy is only going to be more so as we come out of this. Web3, I think, is gravity. It's an eventuality. AI is, again, changing the world as we see it. Virtual reality. How are these things incorporated into the forward vision and solution that you're providing? And I think that all, these 10 offensive points, if we're able to incorporate this, the separation that we can create between you today and what you're able to do in the marketplace, I think is going to be extraordinary. And again, whether these times last 3 months or 3 years, you're positioned to win. So to just kind of conclude my comments, adversity is necessary to create greatness. When you work out and you lift weights, you get stronger, not because it's easy, it's because it's hard. And these times are what create the real muscle within an organization, within you as an entrepreneur to thrive as we come out of this. So think about this as really a way to build the muscles and really the foundation for greatness. And this is not a new story. You look at what's happened historically, really the great businesses of tomorrow have almost always been created during either the time or just before a time of significant adversity. 1975 was when Apple and Microsoft were startups. And that was right at the time of a significant correction in the marketplace that really lasted for a period of years. And then just before the dot-com bubble burst in March of 2000, Google was started in 1998, Salesforce and PayPal in 1999. And then during the Great Recession of 2008 and 2009, you had Twitter, Dropbox, Airbnb, Uber, and many, many others. So again, there's smart, important defensive things that should be done today, but there's also smart, important, strategic, offensive things that you can do today. And I think marrying those together is what allows you to really optimize the opportunity and how we can, thrive during the chaotic period. Thank you so much.